In one room, a man has his head stuck in a saucepan, so it's lucky we have a giant magnet ready to pluck it off. And out in reception, the lounge is flooded with Freddie Mercury impersonators. They're suffering a bad case of mock star, you see. They want to break free from this affliction, and that task is down to you. All of this is a pretty quiet day in the world of 2 Point Hospital, a spiritual successor to 1997's Theme Hospital, created by many people who worked on that game back when Bullfrog Productions was still a thing. 21 years later and they're back in the operating room, but this is more than a simple sequel. Let's take a look at how 2 Point Hospital is much more than Theme Hospital 2. Having played the first 3 hours of the campaign, what really jumps out at me is the sense of progression and shape. It's really easy for management games to hand you a set of tools and just leave you to build a load of successful businesses. 2 Point Hospital does boil down to building lots of rich hospitals, but each new location introduces a quirk or two to push your thinking in a new direction. When you arrive in Lower Bullocks, for example, they've had an outbreak of Mockstar. So your aim is to invest in the psychiatry department, hiring staff with a background in therapy before your hospital is overrun with flamboyant pop star wannabes. Later, you're trying to set up a business in a teaching hospital where the staff are junior and undertrained, forcing you to put them through the training process to build a workforce that can actually handle machinery without killing the patients, which is generally a good thing. Now you're trying to juggle staff who need to be removed from their regular duties for study time, but without just hiring a swarm of fresh idiots to clog up the place. Much later, you'll visit the hotter climate of Sweaty Palms. I see what they did there. In this location, you're suddenly having to focus your efforts on keeping the hospital cool with efficient aircon placement before the heat encourages the spread of disease. And you're still spinning the same plates as before, but now you're playing with heat maps and trying to design rooms and layouts that won't turn your hospital into an oven. All of a sudden, a load of Freddie Mercury imitators doesn't seem quite so bad. What I love about the mission structure is that beating the basic hurdles gets your hospital to 2 stars, where you are then free to move on to the next location in 2 Point County. This path eventually branches, letting you pick the kind of challenge you want to face next. More importantly, you can return to earlier hospitals with the equipment and knowledge you unlock in later levels to try and raise every hospital to a 3-star level. There's a much better sense of building a medical empire, of gaining a foothold with simple operations and then punching everything up. On the surface, there are loads of quality of life improvements compared to the days of Theme Hospital. Just the simple act of building a room is highly pleasurable, as you paint a floor plan into the world and attach furniture and decorations with a satisfying click. Tick the green arrow and it wobbles into existence, making real-life building look very clumsy by comparison. By making building easy, you can focus on the more important stuff, like playing Tetris with sofas in the staff room to trick the game into giving me a high facilities rating. But I'm more interested in what's going on under the hood, a layer of simulation that didn't exist in the days of Theme Hospital. There are the obvious systems, like the temperature heat map or the hunger or thirst of each person, but characters are also governed by unique traits that can cause strange happenings in the hospital. So in our playthrough, for example, we hired a receptionist who was green-fingered, meaning they go out of their way to water plants, which gives the janitors one less distraction when they should be cleaning up piles of puke. Another character might be hangry, meaning their temper rises as they get hungrier, forcing you to keep them within walking distance of a vending machine or suffer the consequences. It means characters exist beyond a job title and qualifications, and creates weird new dilemmas. What do you do with your most experienced doctor if he refuses to wash his hands after going to the toilet, risking the spread of infection? And is it worth hiring a relative dunce if they are a nice person who keeps others happy? Can your hospital afford its very own hype man, in other words? Even if you don't dig deep into these traits, you still get the benefit of them existing. You can sit back and watch characters go about their business, see who gets on with who, and learn their routines. Talking to the developers, they mention how they didn't like the way people would just fire staff in the original Theme Hospital and just replace them with people with better stats. The hope is that these new personalities keep you invested and respectful of your workforce, though no one is going to judge you for sacking that gross dude with pee on his hands. One thing that has changed in the real world over the last 20 years is the heated debate over healthcare and what should and shouldn't be taken care of. 2 Point Hospital isn't an explicitly political game. It exists in a fantasy land that is British in flavour, but one with a largely private healthcare system. But there is an innate sense of morality baked into the game. As 2 Point Studios co-founder Gary Carr jokes, you are basically farming illnesses, and can milk people of cash by keeping them moving around the system. But your own morality is increasingly put to the test with the level of control you have over the business end of your hospital. You can adjust the cost of everything, from the treatments to the individual vending machines. As anyone who has been to a British hospital and paid £5 million for a Kit Kat will know, this is very true to real life. Will you give people an easy ride or exploit them when they're at their most vulnerable? Will you push your staff to breaking point or increase wages and allow long breaks? All these options are yours. The team tell me about one later level in the game where you do take over a state hospital, and the focus shifts from making money from patients to getting everyone healed on a fixed budget. As mentioned earlier, it's another one of those campaign twists that takes established mechanics and flips your approach on its head. But it will be fascinating to see the game step into NHS simulator mode, if only for a level. Oh, and on a related political note, if, like me, you thought the guy who handles the tutorials was meant to be a riff on Jeremy Corbyn, that's the leader of Britain's Labour Party for any friends across the ocean, then you are mistaken. Apparently it's a pure coincidence. Art director Mark Smart tells me that he was actually imagining the architect from the Matrix films when he created the character, and now I'm imagining a version of the Matrix with Jeremy Corbyn as the architect. Let's move swiftly on. If all that talk of moral hand-wringing gets you down, I should remind you that the game is mostly daft. Bullfrog and later Lionhead Studios always brought a British sensibility to their games, so it's no surprise that their alumni continue to do it here. If you take your foot off the pedal and just allow yourself to watch the hospital, you see all kinds of weird stuff, from people randomly dancing in the corridors to janitors chasing ghosts with vacuum cleaners. At times, it's like looking at an animated Where's Wally book, and it's an effect helped by the increased numbers of people on screen and the improved variety of character generation. In 1997, the computer memory couldn't even handle female doctors or male nurses. In 2018, it has male and female everything, and enough memory left over to handle a range of randomised moustaches. Then there are the machines that heal people, from the magnet that yanks pans off heads to the giant grip that unscrews patients feeling a bit lightheaded. The puns are terrible, but the animations are good enough to forgive them. It's hard to stay mad at chromotherapy when you see the machines spraying paint onto black and white patients. Oh, and a special shout out for the comedy radio stations, which is the kind of zany British humour that can easily go wrong, but actually had me chuckling throughout. I particularly like this one for holistic medicine.
If you're feeling ill, the last thing you want to do is pump your body full of cheap artificial medicine. So stay at a holistics hospital, where our natural remedies are so expensive, they just have to be good for you. Holistics, where you can only hope it sticks.
And this one for a snack called Cheesy Gubbins.
Hungry. Anxious. Lonely. Eat some Cheesy Gubbins.
Cheesy Gubbins.
Cheesy Gubbins, the snack for people with nothing to lose.
Oh man, now I want some Cheesy Gubbins. Hopefully that's given you a good feel for how 2 Point Hospital is shaping up. I enjoyed the few hours I spent with the game and am intrigued to see how those later levels build on the earlier ideas. I'm also curious about what horrible puns lie in wait. We don't have long to find out, of course. The game is out on PC on August 30th, though as always I do recommend waiting for the rock paper shotgun verdict before diving in. I'll link to the review in the description when it's up on the site. If you have any questions about what I saw in the first few hours, do let me know and I'll try my best to answer them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe to Rock Paper Shotgun for much more of this kind of thing? A video a day keeps the doctor away, so why not check out our back catalogue, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Goodbye!